Are you looking for a way to stop textures from looking repetitive or pixelated and wondering how to make different tiles? Are you tired of searching for the tile you need? Let's go to Alavi Tile. Convert any surface into endless patterns in all software like the Unreal Engine and 3dsMax. First, we run the asset Alavi Tile and then introduce the surface to it. At first, you will not see anything because the asset is inactive. In the work of this asset, UV and unwrap are very important. The base unwrap of the surface must be normalized. That is, it must be in the same box in the same UV window. But it does not matter if the UV surfaces are on top of each other or so-called overlap. After the initial settings, activate the active option at the top of the tool to start the tiling process. Initially, it only processes one of the surfaces. This is because we make our settings for one surface and then activate all the surfaces. This will optimize the tiling process. Now we can uncheck the Do Single Pass option to process all surfaces together. To start, I'll start with the standard shape. The XY scale parameter controls the size of the tiles in 2D axes. In the Shape Properties tab, 1.2.3, the Random Scale option can randomize the size of the tiles. The higher you go, the greater the difference. The Orient option can control the rotation of the tiles based on the angle. The regular offset parameter shifts the rows by half the size of one of the tiles. This parameter can only be between 0 and 1. Distance. This parameter specifies the distance between tiles. Distance scale is the main parameter that cannot be 0. And distance XY specifies the distance between tiles in the X and Y dimensions. Tile noise. You can add noise to points in the X and Y directions and control the frequency, offset, and roughness. Extrude and chamfer or bevel. The first option, base surface direction, takes the normal vector from the initial surface and usually has less error, which is why it is set to the default. The difference of this parameter is very obvious in curves and edges. Extrude. Once you have set up your tiles, you can enable the extrude option. This parameter gives the tile's volume, base amount, the height amount, as you can see. Minimum and maximum amount gives you the minimum and maximum height randomly. By enabling output back, it gives you the back of the tiles. It also gives you two groups, extrude back and extrude side, so that you can have control over them. Chamfer or bevel. If you enable chamfer, it chamfers the corners. You can also use the divisions parameter to soften the amount of chamfer. Color. These parameters allow us to set the color of the tiles randomly between tiles. This parameter makes the texture repetition invisible and also increases the randomness. Unwrap and UV. The moving parameter controls the amount of random movement of the tiles in the two-dimensional X and Y directions, which is very useful for textures such as wood. The rotate parameter determines the amount of random rotation of the tiles. In some textures, such as stone, rotation will cause more randomness and eliminate the sense of repetition. If our cross-section is curved like this object, as you can see, due to the low resolution, our output surface becomes solid and does not take on the smooth shape of the cross-section. However, the two retopo before and after parameters here help us to make the tiles take on the shape and curve of the cross-section. Now I want to show you different shapes. You can see the specific parameters of each shape in the Shape Property tab. First, box and box scale, orient and offset. Herringbone. Diamond. Hexagonal. Triangle. Basket weave. And chevron. Now let's check the custom tile. I have already prepared an object that is almost similar to the mosque pattern. In the custom object, UV is very important and should be normalized. Also, if it has displacement, It will not be applied to the design, and the displacements will be removed. After introducing the object to the second input, we select the Custom Tile option from the Shape section, and we can control the rotation and offset. Now we go to the Unreal Engine. After activating the Houdini engine, from the top of the Houdini engine section, select the Create Session option. This will run Houdini in the background. Then we import the tile asset into Unreal and add it to the scene. As you can see, all the parameters are the same as what we saw in Houdini. In the Houdini input section, the surface section is the first input and the custom object is the second input. I set the geometry input to the world input. I select the Start Selection option and then select the objects I want in the scene. Then I select the Use Current option at the bottom right.